Yeah, thanks, Tim. Good to be with you, and thank you to Share Cafe for getting NKL into the system. So, yeah, it's a really exciting story. We've recently acquired the Cosmos South nickel project in the world-class Wiluna Greenstone Belt. So, the company's gearing up for a drilling program on that. Clearly, we're in the shadow of giants with IGO to the north and BHP to the south. We've got a strategic land holding, so it should be a pretty exciting time ahead. Just to the next slide. Next one. Yep. So we're obviously guided by a highly experienced nickel exploration team through myself, Jonathan Downs, who's obviously a well-known mining executive throughout Australia. So Cosmos South is 10 k's south of the world-class nickel operations of Cosmos, now owned by IGO. And 20 kilometres north of Leinster operations operated by BHP Nickel West. It's a prolific nickel producing belt, and we've got a strategic land holding right in between those two projects. So the initial work that we've done is identified ultramafic rocks that extend from both those projects run through Cosmos South. Obviously, ultramafic rocks have got the opportunity to host komatiite and nickel sulphide deposits. We've progressed the exploration and prioritisation of targets to identify the CS1 target. It's been defined by prospectivity and geological data modelling, close space mag surveys, which we just completed only a couple of weeks ago, and that lit up a huge mag anomaly, and then reprocessing of electromagnetic surveys, which again have highlighted really strong conductors that overlay those mag anomalies, which is exactly what you want when you're looking for a large nickel sulphide deposit. So the large bedrock conductor has got a strike of about 565 metres to a depth extent of about 800. So it's a reasonable size, but importantly, the conductance is up to 12,000 Siemens of the moving loop EM survey. So it's really lighting up and clearly it's just waiting to be drilled. There's been no real systematic drilling done on the project previously, and we're fortunate enough to be awarded a co-funded drilling grant by the West Australian Government, up to 180 grand, and together with our cash, we're obviously pretty well funded to execute a program. So next one. Pretty straightforward capital structure. We've got 79 million shares on issue. Market cap fully diluted about 13, enterprise value of about 10 million, enough cash in the bank to execute this drilling program. Really good leadership team. Jonathan Downs, as I said, has got 25 years experience in the industry. Formerly worked at Anaconda Nickel as their business development manager. I've listed a number of companies in the Albany-Fraser belt, particularly, and clearly really excited about NKL's future. Technical Director Ollie Cruiser and Exploration Director Chris Butera, both PhD geologists who have got significant experience in gold and base metals through WA. And our Exploration Manager, Tony Donaghy, he's a recognised global expert in nickel exploration. So it's a fantastic leadership team. Next one, thanks. So this is just a snapshot of Cosmos South. As you can see, we're pretty much smack bang in the middle of the Leinster or the Wiluna Greenstone Belt, with Leinster only 20 k's to the south, Cosmos to the north. We've already identified some fantastic targets within our project. Wasn't too long ago that we remember Cosmos was taken over by Xstrata to the tune of about 3.1 billion at the time upon their discovery of Cosmos. And then, as we know, right at the moment, IGO are completing their takeover of Western Areas, who own Cosmos, to the tune of about 1.3 for this and the Forestania Group. So a lot of corporate activity in the belt. And we're one of the only few, if only, independent junior explorers in the belt. So we think we're really well positioned. Yep, next one. So all of the mag data that we reprocess, first vertical derivative, second vertical derivative highlighted, interpreted ultramafic rocks, which run, again, as I said, from Cosmos all the way through to Leinster. So that's the first port of call, just to see if you've got the right potential ultramafic rocks, and that's all been done. As I said, we flew our own drone survey, a very close space survey, over this area only, with results through only a couple of weeks ago, which all the guys and girls can see on our ASX announcement, and that just absolutely lit up that mag anomaly, which has got everybody pretty excited. Next one, thanks. So as we know, you need really good, strong electromagnetic responses to identify bedrock conductors, which clearly are the source of any potential massive sulphides or nickel sulphide deposits in the area. And these were very, very strong responses with the EM surveys. That coupled clearly with our mag surveys has given us some very, very clear targets. On the left-hand slide, the bottom, you can see that's the modelled conductor, which goes from basically near surface 50 odd metres all the way down to sort of 800 metres, and it's about 500 metres in width. So we've got a pretty large system to have a crack at here. So that's the next phase after doing your mag surveys. Having put both those together has given us a really, really good level of confidence that we're onto something here. Next one. So as you can see on the right-hand side, that's the compilation of the moving loop, fixed loop EM work done in conjunction with the mag, underlying mag surveys, which we recently did. And because they're obviously coincident with that large mag anomaly, and given the EM anomalies are very high strength, as I said, up to 12,000 Siemens, then that's allowed us to identify some pretty high priority drill targets. On the left hand side of that slide is our planned or proposed drilling program. That was a part of the EIS application that we put into the West Australian government and was successful in getting a grant for that. And again, we're looking at going a little bit deeper than what previous drilling was done. So on the green holes, obviously, or the green start of the holes are the ones that were planned. The ones that are the blue start of the holes were the ones that were previously done, and they were very shallow, and there was only 2 of them. So we're pretty keen to do a systematic drilling program given the target we've generated here. Next slide, thanks. Yeah, so not to be a one-trick pony, NKL has got some pretty serious intellectual property within our group that builds prospectivity models. What these effectively are is putting all your geochemical, geological, geophysical data into a black box, if you like, and then coming out with areas of interest that are ranked from blue, as we can see on the bottom right, being low prospectivity, to red being very high prospectivity. And when looking to generate projects or deal with other companies, it really just reduces the amount of area that you want to be focusing on. So it's pretty advanced work programs. It's all our in-house IP. We've completed that on the southeast Yilgarn, or the eastern goldfields, and just about to start doing one on the southwest Yilgarn. So that gives you an extra tool to generate further projects and or acquisitions or joint ventures. So we're really comfortable with the way that's been done. Next slide, thanks. So that's the process you go through, just your conceptual or genesis model, acquire all the spatial data, as I said, your geochem, geological, geophysical, apply your fuzzy knowledge, which is effectively just knowledge that all of our technical team have work in the area, and then you rank them from 0 to 1 in terms of the potential of hosting a nickel sulphide deposit. And then we come up with a model that drives our business development programs and project generation programs. Next slide, thanks. Yeah, so pretty straightforward story, guys. Not too complex. We've obviously got a nickel company that's purely focused on nickel sulphide in Western Australia. We're building nickel sulphide assets, commenced with obviously the Cosmos South project in a truly world-class nickel district, strategic land holding in between 2 giants of the industry. We've done all the preparatory work in terms of defining our drill targets. The drilling is all fully funded with a grant from the West Australian government, as well as our existing cash position. So we think we're in a really good position and really excited move the program forward. That will go through the standard permitting process, which is obviously standard heritage agreements, heritage survey, put the POW in, which will be on the back of the drilling grant that we received from the West Australian government, and securing a rig. We've got a really good relationship with DDH1, who some of the guys are big shareholders of Nickel as well, which helps. And so, yeah, once we're done and dusted with all that process over the next couple of months, we're really excited to get on the ground and have a crack at Cosmos South.
Thanks, Matt. Got quite a few questions here for you. There's actually been a lot of positive press about mining lately. There was a headline about, you know, the energy transition, clean energy transition being all about mining. What's it like out there in terms of for your business, in terms of securing equipment and drillers and people? How busy is it out there?
Oh, look, it's unbelievably busy. I haven't seen it as busy as this for a number of years, probably back in 2010, 2011, 2008. So yeah, it's the labs, I think, are the ones that have got a fairly big backlog. Drillers aren't too bad from what our discussions are with the drillers. There are rigs available, but it's actually more getting the human capital to run them, and the right human capital to run them. COVID hasn't helped some of the drillers because they'll usually get some of their drillers offsiders from over east. So yeah, but I think you just got to have the right relationships, be in the right place, and effectively have the right projects, which some of the guys can quite often participate in. So yeah, that was the ABC program, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch that.
Yeah, it's very positive. And how closely are your neighbours following what you're doing at Cosmos? Yeah,
I clearly can't go into too much, but yeah, there's been discussions had with all of our neighbours, or the two neighbours in the district. We know the guys really well as well. Some of them worked with them before, and there's always going to be interest. As we know, BHP or Nickel West are downstream players as well, so they're not only miners; they'll produce downstream. We know IGO have partnered with one of Andrew Forrest's companies, who's a major shareholder of IGO, to announce they're going to be doing the same thing as well. So that gives it an additional opportunity, I guess. If you are going to be producing, or first of all discovering and then producing nickel in the district, then you'll be able to deliver to a player nearby, as opposed to having to ship anything offshore.
And given your prospects, are you looking to extend your kind of exploration licenses to kind of adjacent areas?
Pretty difficult to be honest with you, because it's all locked up. There are discussions going on with a number of other smaller unlisted prospectors. So there is the potential of doing that. But as I said, with our prospectivity model through the Southeast Yilgarn and the Eastern Goldfields, then we're looking at other targets through that part of the world, in which discussions are ongoing. And as we build up our Southwest Yilgarn prospectivity model, the same thing will happen in that part of the world.
And can you give us a little bit more colour on the board and management and kind of your previous experiences and networks? Yeah, look,
Jonathan Downs is a really well-known mining executive throughout Australia. He's currently, previously was business development manager at Anaconda Nickel, which is obviously was and still is a pretty big producer of nickel. He's got a fantastic concept of what is and what isn't market attractive from a nickel exploration and development perspective. And then, Ollie Cruz is a PhD in gold, but I worked with Ollie sort of 10 years ago on doing a nickel prospectivity model across Western Australia for a private equity group. So we've still got all that sort of knowledge. And then Chris Butera, again, another PhD geologist in gold, has also worked in base metals through Western Australia. And Tony Donaghy's obviously leading our exploration. He's a global expert in nickel, having worked through all of Western Australia on just about every nickel sulphide project, and also in Canada through a lot of the nickel projects over there. So it's a huge IP from a board and management perspective. And now we're sort of pretty confident just to stick on Cosmos South. The reward could be enormous, and we know you know, when Kerry Harmanis had Jubilee Discovery and then take over at 3.1 billion. The options on the table are, do you go out and continue to acquire projects, or do you just wait until you drill this one? Because there's no point, in my belief, and I think the board are on the same page, to go and buy other projects until you've actually given this one a good crack. So it's a pretty simple story, to be honest.
Right, Matt, that's all we have time for. Really appreciate the story. We'll follow it with interest, and I know the market's following it with interest as well, given all the chatter. So good luck out there.
Yeah, good one, Tim. Thanks very much. And yeah, any other questions, then feel free to jump on the website and or give us a call.
Great. Thanks, Matt.